What's up, Keymakers? Today on the Keymaker Nation podcast, we're going to talk about to be bigger, act bigger. You wake up, drive 30 minutes to work as an employee at your 9 to 5, which you hate, and all you can think about at work is providing for your family, starting your business, moving it forward, changing the world, and in the process, living the life of freedom and fulfillment you've always imagined. This podcast helps you transition from employee to entrepreneur. My name is Bradley G. Smith, and welcome to the Keymaker Nation podcast. Okay, guys, so I got this idea. I'm going to give all credit to where all credit is due from the Mulready podcast, specifically The Art of Paid Traffic, where he speaks with one of his guests called, his name is James Wedmore. And man, what a really good podcast I heard there. But basically, there was a concept he mentioned in his podcast, the overarching idea. Let me start there. The overarching idea of the podcast was you may be thinking about your business the wrong way and how to fix it. But he mentioned something in there where he said, to be bigger, act bigger. And I wanted to pass that message along to you, right? Specifically, one of the things we do as business owners and entrepreneurs is we do this thing called conditional living or conditional thinking, where we say, if I can, start a business, get some clients, and show them success, then I will act successful. Or if I can, get some clients for myself online, then I will, tell everybody else I can get clients for them online. Or we say, if I make a certain amount of money, then I will buy that course that should help me make more money, that I will learn from a coach who has been doing it well, and I'll wait to purchase the course until I actually have the money to purchase the course, or I don't have to bend over backwards. But sometimes the transformation is in the purchase of the thing, guys. And this is me not trying to sell you the thing, right? But sometimes it takes us to spend money in order to have a transformation. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And sometimes being thrifty doesn't actually give us the transformation that we need. Now, we can be thrifty for so long, and we can get as much information as we can online and through videos and through podcasts. But at the end of the day, some of the information you're not going to be able to get access to some of the information unless you bite the bullet and pay. Now, you can be thrifty and you can find a lot of the answers you're looking for if you dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and you do searches and you do, like I said, you listen to videos and podcasts. But sometimes it just pays off to take the shortcut and pay somebody for their course on how to do the exact thing that you're trying to learn how to do in your business. So I just wanted to say that sometimes the transformation doesn't come unless you pay for the thing. So we need to change our conditional thinking and conditional living and turn away from that and instead take action towards the thing that's going to move our business forward. And so one of the other things he mentioned in there was, 80 to 95% of the actions we take in our business are not going to move it forward. And most of us know that sales is the most important thing to move our business forward. But you can't sell anything without an offer. And then sometimes what we do in business, especially while we're starting out, is he used James Wedmore used Rick Mulready as an example. I guess Rick was doing this podcast for 15 months until he finally created an offer, because he found his target market. But what we do as business owners and entrepreneurs a lot of times is we are waiting for permission for someone to tell us that we actually have the skills or have what it takes to go create that specific course or material that your target audience is looking for. So we're sort of looking for validation from the market or from the audience, from the audience that we're targeting, because that's what we were taught in school growing up. In school, you can't, ask a question unless you raise your hand. You can't give the answer unless you've been given permission. You can't go, to the school's office unless you get permission from your teacher. So all of our lives in business is the same way. You can't work from home unless you get permission. So you've been conditioned to get permission from everybody. So whenever you become an entrepreneur or business owner, you're expecting to get permission from people to create an offer on something, right? So the question that a lot of us have is, who am I to be teaching my market this thing? Well, like I've already said in multiple other episodes, is you don't need to be a 10,000 hours expert on something. You need to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of your target audience or the people you're trying to show something in order to teach them. That's it. And so yeah, I would say drop the conditional thinking, focus on the 5% of activities that are going to move your business forward. Stop waiting for permission. And then I'm left with this one other thought. I keep thinking about this guy that I saw on Facebook, a Facebook video as I was scrolling through the feed. This video had about 11 million views, and it was hilarious, right? The most hilarious, it was one of the most hilarious videos, and I don't know why, but it just struck a chord with me as a business owner. Basically, there was this fisherman, and it looked like he was in a large lake fishing, and it looked like he got a flounder, like the fish was sort of flat when he was reeling it in, and he was reeling in this huge fish, right? So he's reeling it in, and he goes to pick it up. He picks up the fishing wire, and he starts lifting it up into the boat, and all of a sudden the fish was like shaking, and then it shook off the hook. So it freed itself from the hook as he was lifting it up out of the water. And without even missing a beat, this guy jumps in the water and dives on the fish. He goes underwater completely just for a minute and then resurfaces. And he has the fish in his hand. And even more so, he's got the fish in his hand. He's got his hand in the mouth of the fish, and he's even mentioning, oh man, the fish is biting me. It's biting me, And he's swimming back to the boat. His flip-flop came off in the process, but just man, isn't that such a I kept thinking of titling this particular podcast, the one that I mentioned this Facebook video in, How Bad Do You Want It? And this guy really showed how bad he wanted it. But guys, the result for this guy is the exact same as the result for a fisherman who didn't have to jump in the water, who maybe had that one trick figured out, that he knew that if he lifted the fish up out of the water just right, that the fish wouldn't jump the hook. And but the result for this guy who jumped in the water was exactly the same as the result for some other fisherman who maybe had a little bit more skill, who didn't have to jump in the water. And I want you to think about that in terms of business and just getting started, from your employee to entrepreneur, your role from transitioning from employee to entrepreneur, right? Everything's not going to be perfect. You're not going to have it all figured out when you're just starting out. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to lift the fish up out of the water and it's going to jump the hook, metaphorically speaking, right? But you're going to jump in after it because you want it so bad, and you're going to get it. You're going to go underwater. People are going to think you're gone for a minute, and then you're going to come back up and you're going to be triumphant because you got the fish out of the water. And the net result for the guy who jumped in after the fish was the same as the net result of the guy who doesn't have to jump in after the fish. They both still have their trophy at the end of the day. They have their fish that they can show off to people. But think about this. The story that the guy had where he jumped in to get the fish out of the water is way more interesting than the story that the guy who's already the expert had when he was pulling the fish out of the water without even having to jump in. And the fact that it was on video was even more impressive, right? He's got, he can refer back to this thing that happened, and he can tell the story just by showing the video. But I want you to think about that in terms of your business. How bad do you want it? And, we as business owners, sometimes the reason why we focus on the 95% of things that are not going to get us anywhere or move our business forward is because, one, we're asking for permission, but two, we're scared of being judged. Just like, as we're first getting into this mindset, we're just scared of being judged by our friends, our family, the market. And the thing is, guys, you're gonna make mistakes, okay? So we've got to get past that. But just think about that. To be bigger, act bigger. The net result is the same for you, guys. I'm not telling you to go out there and lie about your results, but I'm telling you the difference between somebody who is getting the sales to your target market and who's not is because they've already made the mental shift that they are bigger and they are taking the actions as if they are already bigger. And I'm challenging you to do the same. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. To be bigger, act bigger, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Hey guys, don't forget to join me in the Keymaker Nation private Facebook group. If you're listening to the podcast via iTunes, please rate and review. And if you're listening via YouTube, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening.